Good morning. So it is Sunday. It is Mother's Day today, and I'm going in just a minute. My aunt's going to pick up my mom, and I. We're going to go to my grandma's place, my mom's mom's, and then we're gonna have lunch together. My other grandma, she's going to like a different restaurant, but like that one's a little more expensive. So I don't know what my dad is doing. He might go to both, lunch. That's always like an option. But today's Mother's Day, so it's going to be a day where I'm spent with, like I guess like the moms in my family. Also, my parents, they separated like the gifts they're going to be giving, this year for Mother's Day. They're going to be some of my pottery, so I am both a little nervous and excited. It's a new step in my life. Getting because I've been having pottery classes for like over a year, and we have a lot of stuff here. My mom already gave earlier this year one of the little boy I had made, so he's gonna have like more things even, so it's different, it's exciting. Let's wait and see how these things go. Yesterday we were separating things and deciding the prices, and we settled on like making it like proportionate to the amount of clay that is used. So far that is the criteria. But this is, as I said, I actually mentioned this before, but it was in the other channel, that I'm feeling a little, this whole thing of like, actually, I mean, right now I'm doing fine, but when my parents first, proposed that they would buy some of pottery for me to, give as gifts, I was a little bit like nervous, because it was like, is it, good enough? Because the thing is that like, I do agree that at a certain point, I will have, develop like enough skills that I'll be kind of like, okay with like the pottery, but the thing is like feeling comfortable in like that level is always like not something, right? But yeah, so I think compared to the last time I was thinking about this, I'm already doing much better. And I think all in all, like, you have to kind of like do things in order for you to build, confidence. So this is that. So let's wait and see. But even, because we are waiting on some like this next, Thursday I'm not going to class, so the one after that, like, there's a lot of things for us to animal, so there's a lot of like stuff I want to animal, but like I think that it'll be like an even better quality than some stuff I have here, which is how usually these things go. You do more and then you get better. But that's kind of like the situation for today. What I should talk about is the fact that I think I mentioned in the last video that I was very like physically weak. Something was happening that was getting me to be, not feeling particularly great. There's something that happens in the beginning of the month, although today's already the 12th. 12, I have to send money for my Zumba class. We kind of have a monthly contribution, and also like we're gonna have like this shirt that's going to be mandatory. I also have to send the first half of like the payment for the shirt. Very expensive, the shirt, but you're not, I mean, I guess like usually the shirts, right, it's like made of like the material that usually when you have like some marathon or some all these events where you have like a lot of, you can run or walk, whatever is usually you're given a shirt is that material. So yeah, I guess it's not that expensive comparatively. But I was talking about like I was feeling physically weak. Like Friday, it was such a low point for me. I didn't even go to like my swimming class because I was just so I guess debilitated is the word. But yeah, so yesterday I was still feeling weak, but I'm doing better, and today I feel like I'm doing even better. So we were, Friday we're like, okay, if this doesn't pass, like Monday we're going to the health center, talking to the doctor, but it does seem that like by tomorrow I'll be completely back to normal. But something that also changed that I find to be very exciting is my writing, because basically I think I mentioned that because I was physically weak, but it's also kind of like a mental thing. I wasn't feeling any no depressive or manic thoughts as that was happening, so it was a positive. But I was not really particularly creative or inspired to do things. So when it came to my novel, the next one, I was just kind of like filling the blanks basically from what I already done. And then yesterday I started writing more things, so I was inspired once again. I had ideas and it was exciting. I went to bed early yesterday because I had to wake up early yesterday to get ready to go with my, I was also, so I could have like a good full night of rest, so I won't be cranky throughout like the whole day, cranky or grumpy, whatever fits better. So I went to bed early, but I probably would have been able to keep writing. I'm very excited because I wrote, I mean, I've been writing things, but like I wrote a whole, new set of chapters. I also realized that I was dividing the book in parts, although to be fair, part one, because I know what part one is and part two where it begins, but my part two might be just that. I don't know if there's going to be a part 3, but yeah. So I was just already separating things, and things are getting like a lot of like things are starting to fall into shape in my head regarding like the next novel, which is very important, because usually this taking shape is what gets me to just write things. Then when the ideas come, and then I write them. But because as I started part 2 already, and as I started part 2, I was like thinking about like the other things I had to keep doing part 1 for it to be ready to get to the point I wanted to be. But yeah, so I think that's kind of like just what I wanted to talk about. I was like before this is the last video, I got worse, but then I seem to be getting better now. And that's kind of like all you can hope for in life, to be honest, is that you're doing okay, so you can kind of like focus on the things that are important to you, the things that bring your life, like give meaning to your life, right? And writing has always been one of those things, and it's not like anything has changed necessarily, but I think I'm in a position where I can kind of like embrace it in a better way than I had ever done in the past, solely because I think I have like less attachments, less hesitations about things. We're gonna have a whole little ceremony with like my new book. We purchased the books, but the money had not really been deducted from the credit card that we used, and that happened yesterday. So the books are coming, although we don't know how many we should, because we're going to buy like 20 of like the new one and 10 of the old one, and but I ended up making 2 purchases because the first one nothing happened, right? But yeah, but then it didn't have like the limit, I only had like that amount, so some of them were canceled. I don't know which is which, because like they decided to split it up, and when I look at the website, it's separated. Like one you have like 15 of one, 10 of the other, and then above you have 5 more. No, it have 10 of one, 20 of the other, and then more 10, and the other it is 15, 10, and plus 5, or it is 10, 5, 15. No, it's 15, 10, and 5. So they separated it. I don't know why they made that separation, but basically that's kind of like, I guess, what the different values on a credit card that we're trying to deduct what they were. So we don't know exactly which ones passed, but some of them passed. So now we are waiting. They're going to arrive in theory until like the 27th, but the last time we did this, which was to be fair, back in 2016, yeah, it was back the end of 2015, the end of 2016. Yes, I think it was like January that they arrived, because basically we bought at the time, it was like 24 copies that you could buy, and then they didn't arrive, so I made a complaint, and yeah, and then they sent 24 more, which meant that we bought 24, but we had 48, and some of those are still here to this day, but now they are kind of like outdated, but no, it is what it is. So I don't know, I mean, a part of me wants all the books to arrive by then. I'm excited to see how they turn out, but maybe if like they didn't arrive, I could do the thing that I did the other time, and then we have like even more copies, because they're so expensive. The value, I think it was like June 23rd, 2023 that they changed some of the things, and then it got a little bit more expensive. But even then, like considering that it is a 697 book, like it would always be more expensive than the other one. The other one is 357 pages. So yeah, anyways, but I'm excited. Oh yeah, so what I was talking about is basically that, just like with my poetry, like you kind of like you build confidence to talking about things. So like these books, we're gonna end up probably selling a couple of them, and I'm kind of at a point where I'm kind of like, okay, this is something that is more, I guess, worthy of being sold and bought and all of that. I'm still at the very beginning of like this process, but it's interesting how like you work on yourself in your head, like even like this is some things that you don't really see, how they're connected to the entirety of the head, how they end up being proved, because you realize that this has to do with like insecurities and trauma. So you deal with those traumas and insecurities, and then you feel better, you deal with things better, including like the own things that you produce. But yeah, but all in all, like I think I am at the point where I have fully embraced the fact that writing is one of the most meaningful things in my life, and one of the most important things that I do. In terms of, it's one of those things that really, I guess like if you don't really have an experience with writing, like you might think that this is dramatic, but generally, it's very genuine when I say that it's one of those things that really get me going, like these ideas, particularly now that I'm able to properly like execute them, and I am at a point where I'm making progress in a way that was not before, because as I said, like this book is finally out after 8 years, so it was 8 years of like me struggling with things, and now that that's out. I'm already working on the next one. And I think that, oh yeah, like I went from like 22 to 32 pages yesterday. I mean, some of them are not necessarily like they're full pages. Like, for example, we had part 1, part 2 that was added, so that's 2 of pages. But it's just that I wrote more things, I started more chapters. I was, developing the story. And it's interesting because, as I mentioned before, like the idea of like we're getting from point A to point B. There's 2 more books in this saga, right? So I know where again. Although the interesting thing is that things they get a little bit they get moved around. So some of the stuff that I thought was gonna happen a little bit later in the book, it's already happening. And this is pretty much like it's kind of pretty much what happens because in the other one, I end up pulling some stuff that happened sooner. So naturally, some of the stuff is much happened sooner as well. And I don't know, it's just like it's interesting as you're working because things start to fall into place because they had some the elements there. They're like, okay, is this working? Is this, or at least like yeah, so like even some of the stuff that's been very much settled for the longest time in the story, like right now I'm moving pieces around and it's working, and if it doesn't you can go back to what it was before. But I think that's the exciting part, like the construction of the story. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this up right now because I still have some time before I would leave, and I think I'm gonna be putting this time into use while working on a novel. Like I was oh yeah, something I don't want to mention that I'm probably gonna write in a notebook is that I had some anxious feelings when I was going to bed. And one of the anxious feelings, they're not necessarily associated with like anything happening. It's just that sometimes when I'm going to bed, I have some, some anxieties happen. Historically, this has been associated with like my mental state, in terms of like me being a little manic, a little depressed. So it was just like a little bit. It was just like a slight hint of those feelings, but still I think it's important to write down because if this gets worse, it's important for you to tell like when it started, so if you can create like a timeline, it's even better for you in terms of you to understand what's happening and also how to properly treat it. So I think that's that. So anyways, bye.